direction is set, the issues we're discussing are more or less issues of implementation. Because you know, when you invite or you open up, you already have an idea what that opening up will do to your economy and how maybe you will be able to compensate the shortage of funds from digital systems that are applicable globally, but from increased business within the country. Somebody else pays more for the country because he's doing business faster and more efficiently, the indirect. But this has to be known at a policy level, and the rest trickles down. But let me say this, and I say this really with raw honesty, in the sense that those who invent these algorithms are human beings, and they've gone to school like us. So what is there that is does not enable us to create our own systems and market them elsewhere? The Uber-like system and the Bolt-like system, there is a Tanzanian in the United States who has done the same. Tanzania. So, I mean, if he can do in the United States, I mean, why are you complaining in Tanzania? I mean, we have to use the capability of our people to innovate and to compete regionally and the world. Now, East Africa is becoming a market of more than 200 people. Maybe we should be looking at systems that can work within East Africa to compete with the other systems that are global in character. Of course, it's not easy, but as I say, matters of taxation and matters of law eminent from policy. And at the end of the day, it's what the country wants. The rest is can fall in place.
Thank you very much. And I think I'd like to invite colleagues that are here to, if anyone has comments, questions. Okay.
Thank you, Professor. I want to contribute my idea inside this global policies, because
meter. So the tax meter is a device which is installed in a tax or a cab tax, which the passenger or a customer is metered according to the distance traveled and the amount of money to pay for tax driver. So because of emergence of these technologies, so in many countries there is regulations governing payment. So what are these regulations? So there is a GPSI verification systems. So in other countries, regulators apart from telecom companies. So regulators are like in example of Tanzania, we have Weights and Measures Agency. So the Weights and Measures Agency has a role to regulate tax meters. So tax meters are the same as the device installed in Uber or the gadget which are used to record the distance and the fee to be paid by the customers. So I can outline some of these policies which can support tax meter verification and calibration. So we have number one, GPSI verification systems. So this is a verification system based on GPS, which uses measurement equipment based on satellite navigation to verify the calibration of the taximeter. Also, we have another policy called the taximeter business rule. For example, in New York City, no individual or partner or corporation or other business entity is allowed to manufacture, sell, or install, or repair, or adjust, or maintain tax cab technology without following the rules outlined in the regulation or rules. Also, there is another policy which operates globally called taximeter verification. So the National Standard Authority, for example, in Ireland, conduct a verification of taximeter to ensure their accuracy and provide confidence to consumers that the charges applied to tax journeys are correct and accurate. So the verification are conducted when the taximeter is first purchased and installed in a registered tax vehicle, whenever a new fare is programmed into the taximeter, whenever any repair, alteration, or adjustment is carried out on the taximeter or printer, which requires a secure seal. So this is the means of collecting government revenue or tax for those electronic technologies. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. You can see there's another hand over there. Oh. Dr. Nyantai will be the next after Dr. Casimir.
Oh, thank you, Professor Mwandosia, and thank you, Dr. Moses. I have one question targeted to Professor Mwandosia and a comment to the presentation from Dr. Moses. We understand that for the technology and business to work together, there must be an alignment between the two, because the business itself has its own strategy and the business capabilities on one hand, but also the technology has its own capabilities and strategy on the other hand. Now, my question to Professor Mwandosia is, what would you recommend at the national level, that means at the policy level, how can we align the technology and business to ensure effectiveness in the service delivery. That's it to Prof. Mandosi. My comment to Dr. Moses is, to my understanding, ICT is geo-faceted, meaning that on one hand, it is an industry in itself, but on the other hand, it is an enabler to other sectors of the economy. Now, coming to you, the quantification that ICT is contributing approximately 1.5 of the national GDP. I think that was calculated based on ICT as an industry, selling the ICT equipment and the likes. But since ICT is an enabler to other sectors of the economy, you mentioned of the Uber, for example, where the transport sector is enabled by ICT. You see the Muse-like and all software-related aspects. I think there must be a mechanism through which we can quantify the contribution of ICT as an enabler, and that will add up to the present 1.5 contribution of ICT, the national GDP. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe having been a bureaucrat and also an academic, combine the two makes one an intellectual. You look at things in a very broad perspective. Technology, as I put it, is a product of, or can facilitate also business. I mean, it's inseparable from business. In some cases, business has grown to such an extent that for any further growth, it needs technological injection, and it may itself be a driver for technology development. But on the other side, technology can influence business, and business usually is quick to apply. But again, it's about the national. What does the nation want? Where does it want to go? You see, if the nation understands the direction where it wants to go, I think everything is clear, and there's no conflict between business and communication, but and technology. And the role of government is really to be an enabler through its institutions, like the regulators, but also through the linkage between the academia and business. And basically, at the end of the day, is you have to define as a nation where you want to go. You know, people think the economy of the United States is so freewheeling and devoid of regulation. But United States is the most heavily regulated economy in the world. But that economy has also produced results, and the results are the technological results. But you see, I quote a statement that was made by one former director of the CIA, and said, if we lose this technological superiority, the United States is finished.
Thank you very much, Prof. The second part of the question, I totally agree with you.
believe that a regulator must have, I think, about 4 qualities. Quality number 1, the regulator should ideally be neutral. Not be party, not get any benefit from what is regulating. Second point is that the regulator, and therefore the regulation should be objective. Third and most important is that the regulator must be knowledgeable about that particular sector that the person is regulating. And finally, the regulator, hopefully, should have financial independence from what is regulating. Now, I'm saying that because we have a situation. I was a member of those first CCCs, Consumer Consultative Councils. Actually, Professor Mwandusi was the Minister for Communication. And we were members under the TCCRA. Then we were fighting against high tariffs. Then somebody was saying that if you get low tariffs, you are going to get low allowances, sitting allowances, and all that. And then for some reason, that somehow kind of cooled off some of the people's urge to reduce that. So you have to really be independent